Cancer, diabetes, obesity, hypertension, and asthma are all examples of non-communicable diseases, and sadly, these diseases are the leading cause of death globally. But do they really affect us here in Africa? And are Africans really living with these diseases? Find out here at the African NCD Champions podcast as we share incredible stories of Africans living with non-communicable diseases. My name is Ogweno Stephen and I'll be your host. Let's roll. Welcome to another episode of the African NCD Champions, and here we host champions living with various non-communicable diseases, where they get to share with us their stories, their life experiences, and how they've lived with their conditions. And today we have quite the guest. His story is quite an inspiring story, and I've known Konzolo for close to 5 years now. So it's a very big privilege for me to host him on the podcast today, and today we'll be talking about his story. And without further ado, Konzolo,
yes,
how are you doing?
Fine.
So give us an introduction of yourself. Introduce yourself to us.
Yes, my name is Edward Konzolo. I'm now 56 years old, and I'm married with one wife. I have 4 children. All of them are in secondary schools. So I was a teacher, but now because of the disease I have, I left teaching. I was told to go and wait until when I'll be okay. So there I am. That's the much I can tell you on introduction.
All right, so that's a brief introduction, but we'll get into the details in a few.
Yes.
And so I guess the next question for me is, what has been your journey with non-communicable diseases, and which one have you conquered and are you living with, and how did you find out? So what has that story been from signs, and then when you found out, and then up to right now? So what is that story like?
Yeah, my story is it's a long one. But I will try to give you...
You want to hear the whole of it?
Oh, you want the whole of it?
The whole of it.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
It was in 2012 when I realized that I had this condition of stroke. Stroke is one of the non-communicable diseases. So I can't say anything about the signs because I didn't see them and I didn't know them. Firstly, because I've come to learn of late that you are supposed to be undergoing screening and so on. And for me, I never used to go for any kind of screening. So I was a teacher in a private school in Nairobi here. So I went to school after it was a Saturday. We had graduation of the year 12 students. So after that, I came back home. Reaching my home, it was just a good afternoon up to morning. When I woke up early in the morning, I went to church for morning glory at about 6 in the morning. So when I was coming from there, it's when I felt something like dizziness, and it didn't give me any time. When I was thinking of that dizziness, within a very short time I was down on the ground. Now when I fell down, I thought of my friends. I was walking with the 2 friends of mine because we are going back home at around 8. So I fell down. When they woke me up, they tried to ask me what was going on. But I could hear them asking the question. But opening my mouth, I couldn't open the mouth. I couldn't say what was happening to me. So one held me on the left side, the other one on the right. They assisted me back to my house. Reaching by the time I was walking slowly, I reached there and found that, of course, I had gotten back to my normal status. So they were trying to ask me what happened. I told them, I don't know. I just find myself down. So they thought it is a work of, can we say demons or what? So they prayed. After praying, my wife was busy in the kitchen, struggling to make up a cup of tea for us. I felt like going to the washrooms. So I went there with my phone in the hand, because I had just received a call from my brother at home. So when I went to that room, I found that my right hand, trying to unzip was a problem. But do you imagine, there was nothing telling me that there is something wrong with the hand. But I struggled. When I struggled, because the phone was in the left hand, no, in the right hand. Now the phone dropped off my hand and fell in that toilet. So when I tried to take it back, because it was a water toilet and so I removed it. Now my mind came back to me. Tell me now, the first thing, when a cell phone has fallen in water, you remove it. You remove the cell from it. You air it. So I tried to remove it.
Not happening.
Nothing was happening. So I just placed it on top of that the toilet. Then I used my left hand. I finished my work there. So coming back, I found that my head was going around. I was feeling dizziness. So I just walked from that toilet to my bedroom, because that is how the place was organized. So I went, and I went to the bed. I slept a bit. Now my friends were just in the sitting room, and they didn't know what was going on. So I slept for about 20 minutes. So my wife had to send my wife sent the kid to me to call me. And when the kid came and called me, I woke up, went to take tea with the rest. Now, taking the cup of tea from the table, first of all, it was okay. I took it and placed it on my chair. Now, when I wanted to lift that cup of tea to the mouth, it became a problem. So I tried to force it, and the cup overturned, and
it hit the floor, broke down.
Yes. So it broke down, and of course, a little of it had poured on my trousers. So I had to stand very fast to go to the other chair in order for me not to
get burned.
Now when I tried to stand, it's when I found my leg was weak, and I fell down on the ground. Now my friends now looked at it and said, "Now there's something wrong. Something wrong." So they came very fast. They held me. I stood up. He took me to the other chair. They told me, what is happening? I told them, I don't know. I'm just feeling some dizziness. So after that, they Now, I also gained energy in the hand properly, and I started taking the tea or whatever. But my friend told me that the best thing to do is for you to go to hospital. So I took tea and
went to the
hospital with those friends of mine. I didn't go even with my wife. I just said, after all, it's something small, and I have the insurance card, so I went to the hospital. Going to the hospital, I met the doctor there. I was trying to explain to him that I've felt some weakness on my right hand side. The hand could not hold whatever, and I fell down. I couldn't talk. But the doctor told me, no, for us, we are not seeing anything wrong with you. I told him, but so I took some time trying to convince them to admit me. So in the process, I don't know, I removed my card, my insurance card, and the man said, oh, you have that one, and then it's okay. The best thing is we shall give you a bed, and we observe you from now. Now, they didn't even take a simple my body temperature.
They didn't check.
They didn't check. But what they did, they removed some blood samples and told me, now you wait until tomorrow and
we'll let you know.
So they gave me a bed. It was around 11 o'clock during the day. I went to that ward. Waited. My friends went home. They decided to come back at 5. I was just okay. So coming up to 8 is when now I was caught up properly.
8 in the night now.
8 in the night. I was caught up in the night properly. Now there was a nurse going around, came and looked at me. He found it was a man. He found that things are not very fine where I am, because I'm just lying on the bed. My mouth is facing on the side. I'm not talking. So she called me, I couldn't reply. So it's when she ran and talked to the doctor. The doctor had gone home, so he had to come back. Came back at around Saturday. But when he found me in that situation, he said, now I'm suspecting this to be stroke. Then they gave me some drugs and left me to spend the night there. Up to the following day at night is when they were coming now to take me for CT scan. Now, the first person to arrive in that hospital at 5 the following day was my cousin. Came and found me. I was in a terrible state. Doctor here, and now his point was just to somebody the ward around. So she came at my wife came in at around 8. She found I was there. I can't talk. I can't do anything. She was now to help me to take tea. So I went to Germany whatever in town there.
The hospital.
For head scan. So they said I was with a stroke. So my stroke began from the hospital there, and of course that is what I'm going on. I'm struggling with up to right now. Of course, I spent 20 days in that hospital, and then I was released to go home to be doing some physical
therapy and whatnot,
and taking of those drugs and so on. So in the process, I lost my job thereafter, because the administrators looked at me and so that I cannot do anything because I'm not talking. I cannot lift my hand. I cannot write. I cannot read. You know, even reading was a problem, and so on. So that is what.
That's the how you discovered it. Eh?
That's how I discovered it. In fact, I discovered when someone was. It was my cousin also when he was reading he found that in the file, found that I had very high pressure, and that is what I will never taken time to screen. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Now that was incredible. Thank you for listening in. Share this with your networks and follow us on all social media at Storylink and at NCD Champions. See you on the next one.